I found out my wife was the office's favorite single girl from a stranger's email. No warning, no build-up, just a photo, a damn group photo, with her in the center, holding a drink, smiling like she wasn't married, and a caption underneath that detonated my entire life. Office's favorite single girl, face blowing a kiss. I stared at that image for a full minute, feeling my heartbeat slow down to something dangerous. Her hand was bare, no ring, and the guy next to her, hand on her lower back like he owned it, wasn't me. And that's when I knew. It wasn't just the late work hours, or her suddenly locking her phone, or the way she always brushed off intimacy with that fake, "I'm tired" line. It was because she was cheating, lying, living a whole other life while I stayed loyal like an idiot. And the worst part? I paid for everything. I bought her car, funded her MBA, supported her dream job while I took extra shifts. And she paid me back by telling her coworkers she was single? No, this wasn't going to be a quiet breakup. I wasn't just going to cry and disappear. 5 days later, I made one move that shattered her fake little empire. And now, she's blowing up my phone like her life depends on it. Please help me. Don't do this. I didn't mean it. Too late, sweetheart. Now you're going to find out what happens when the man you betrayed stops being your safe plan B and becomes your worst ***king mistake. 5 days earlier, if you'd asked me if I trusted Jessica, I would have said yes, maybe not with my life, but definitely with our marriage. We'd been together for 6 years. 3 married. She had this way of looking at me like I was her anchor, like she couldn't breathe without me. But looking back now, that look was an act, a mask, and I was the fool applauding her performance. It started small, little things you could write off. She stopped wearing her ring to work, said it wasn't professional. I thought it was strange, but she had an answer ready so fast, it almost felt rehearsed. "It's not professional, and I don't owe anyone my relationship status," she said, flipping her hair and grabbing her keys like it was just another Tuesday. I remember standing there, holding the ring in my hand like an idiot, trying not to let it get under my skin. I told myself I was being insecure. I believed her. That was mistake number 1. Then came the overtime. 2, 3 nights a week. Late meetings. Team drinks. Texts that went ignored for hours. She'd come home with her hair redone, fresh perfume clinging to her like smoke, acting like I was paranoid for even asking questions. "It's just networking, babe. Why are you acting weird?" I wasn't acting weird. I was starting to see the truth peek out from behind her carefully built lies. The way she turned her phone face down. The way she deleted her call logs. The way she started laughing at her texts like a teenager sneaking around behind her parents' back. And then came the photo. I wasn't supposed to see it. Some girl named Amanda. Turns out she was one of the junior assistants. Must have felt guilty. She sent the group shot without comment, just the image attached to a blank email. They were at a rooftop event, probably one of those client mixers Jessica always claimed were mandatory. There were at least 15 people in the shot, holding drinks, smiling at the camera. Jessica was in the middle, no ring, pressed right up against some grinning alpha in a tight shirt who looked like he'd never worked a hard day in his life. His hand was on the small of her back like it belonged there. And the caption? "Office's favorite single girl face blowing a kiss." I sat there in our living room, staring at that photo in silence. She was in the shower upstairs, probably humming like nothing was wrong. My hands were shaking, my jaw locked, but I didn't make a sound. Not yet. I waited, observed, gathered everything. I checked her phone while she slept, caught the name Brandon pop up again and again, saw deleted messages, screenshots she forgot to clear from the trash folder, texts about last night being wild and can't wait for round 2. I didn't sleep that night, just laid next to her, wide awake, counting how many ways she'd betrayed me. But I didn't confront her. I wanted her to dig herself deeper. I wanted her to feel safe, because I was about to pull the floor out from under her. The next day, I transferred our savings, opened a new account, packed a bag, booked a hotel under a fake name, took pictures of everything, texts, call logs, emails, photos. I made copies of our prenup. She'd signed it years ago when she thought she'd never need it. Then, I waited 5 more days. Let her feel secure. Let her play pretend. And then I vanished. Left the house at 6 a.m. Left the ring, the photo, and a note with just 2 words. I know. By noon, she was blowing up my phone. At first it was panic. "Where are you? Are you okay? Why did you take the money?" Then came the guilt traps. "You're scaring me. I didn't cheat. You're just being crazy. Babe, please don't ruin this over a joke. But I didn't respond. I wasn't giving her the satisfaction. By the time the sun went down, she was crying into voicemails and begging me to talk. Please help me. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. He didn't mean anything, okay? I messed up, and all I could do was sit there in silence and let it all burn. Because I wasn't coming back. Not now. Not ever. She showed up at my hotel at 2 in the morning. I don't know how she found out where I was staying. Maybe tracked my location from an old shared app or asked someone at the bank. I didn't care. I heard the knock before I even saw her face through the peephole, mascara smudged, hair tied up like she hadn't slept. I didn't open the door. She stood there, knocking again and again. Then her voice came, soft and shaking. The same voice she used when she wanted something expensive but wanted me to think it was my idea. Babe, please. I didn't know they'd post that photo. It wasn't what it looked like. Still, I said nothing. I didn't sleep with him, she added quickly, as if she knew what I'd been thinking. We flirted, okay? I was just bored. You've been distant. I didn't know how to tell you I wasn't happy. That was her go-to move. Flip the guilt. Paint herself as the victim. Act like I'd pushed her into someone else's bed. But I didn't need her to admit it. I already had the screenshots. There were messages she didn't think I'd ever see. Messages that didn't leave room for interpretation. You sleep good, baby? Wish I woke up next to you. Let's sneak out again after lunch. She'd deleted most of them, but forgot that her Apple Watch synced to her iPad. All I had to do was open messages. She really wasn't as clever as she thought. The knocking continued, followed by silence. Then I heard her sit down outside my door. I imagined her, back pressed against the wall, knees hugged to her chest. She'd always put on a show when she needed to be pitted. Like she was just a girl who made a mistake, not a woman who systematically, coldly, betrayed the man who bent over backwards for her. 20 minutes passed, then 30. Then finally, her voice again, quieter this time. You have no idea what it's like being me. I get hit on every day at work. Do you know what that feels like? It's exhausting. And yeah, maybe I liked the attention. Maybe I liked feeling wanted for once. Wanted? I'd spent years making her feel wanted. I worked overtime to fund her fashion obsessions, took her on weekend trips, remembered every anniversary, every birthday, every dumb Pinterest recipe she wanted to try. And she threw it all away for some smug coworker who probably couldn't spell commitment. I still didn't open the door. Instead, I sat there in the dark, staring at the door like it was the only thing keeping me from exploding. She stood eventually. I heard her breathing hard through the gap. You think you're better than me now? She hissed. Like you've never made mistakes? That right there, that was the real Jessica. Not the weeping wife. Not the sweet victim. But the entitled, smug girl who thought the world owed her forgiveness. She waited for a reply. I gave her none. Then came the final blow. Fine. You walk away from this. Don't come crying when no one else wants you. You'll never find someone like me again. I nearly laughed out loud. I waited until I heard her heels clicking away down the hall, echoing like nails in a coffin. Then I got up, locked the bolt again, and sat back down. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. But something inside me cracked. Not the loud kind. The slow kind. The kind that doesn't heal right. That's when I realized she hadn't just betrayed me with another man. She'd betrayed everything. Every moment. Every shared dream. Every night we stayed up talking about the future. It was all a lie. And the woman I thought I married? She never really existed. 2 days later, I came back to the house. Not to forgive her, not to talk. I came for my tools, my journals, and the last pieces of myself I had left behind. The place looked the same, but it didn't feel like mine anymore. It smelled like her perfume, faint and artificial, still lingering in the hallway like a ghost I hadn't asked for. The door was unlocked. Of course it was. She was in the kitchen, pretending to make tea. Wearing one of my old sweatshirts like that meant anything now. She turned when she heard me, like she'd been waiting. Her eyes widened with hope. I saw it rise in her face like a reflex. Ryan, she breathed out, voice soft like she was in a movie. You're here. Can we talk? I didn't answer. Just walked past her and went straight to the garage. Grabbed my toolbox, my notebooks, the photo album with my mom's handwriting on the back of each page. She followed me. Of course she did, with her arms folded and that fake trembling in her voice. You can't just walk away from this. We were married. You made vows too. I stopped, turned, and looked at her. Just stared for a moment. You didn't wear your ring, I said, my voice flat. Not to work. Not to events. Not even in that damn photo. She blinked, caught off guard. I told you. It's not professional. Yeah, I said, dropping the wrench into my bag. And I told you that was bulls asterisk asterisk T. That's when she cracked. Oh, come on. She snapped, arms thrown up. So I didn't wear a ring. So I flirted a little. Big deal. You're acting like I slept with half my office. Did you? I asked. Silence. Just the click of the clock behind her. Then she scoffed, turned her head like she was disgusted by the question. But she didn't answer. I nodded slowly. That was all the confirmation I needed. You don't understand what it's like for me, she tried again. Every day, guys staring, messaging, following me. And you? You've been boring for months. Same routine, same conversations. I needed something exciting. I stepped closer, not to intimidate her, just to say it to her face. Then you should have left me before you went looking for exciting. She looked down, lips tight. I made a mistake. You made several, I corrected. Repeatedly. Over months. That's not a mistake. That's who you are. She didn't have a response for that. And for the first time, I saw her without the filter. No makeup. No pretended innocence. Just Jessica. Cold, selfish, and furious that I wasn't folding under her spell. She followed me to the front door. Where are you even going to go? She asked, suddenly bitter. You gonna sleep in your car forever? No, I said, hand on the knob. But at least wherever I go, I'll be sleeping alone. Not next to a liar. I stepped out and shut the door behind me. Hard. The way a final chapter ends. I didn't look back. Not even once. 3 nights later, she showed up at my brother's place. I'd been staying with him, Nick, ever since I left. He offered, didn't ask questions. Just handed me a beer, pointed to the spare room, and said, "Doors open, man." That's the kind of loyalty I'd forgotten existed until everything fell apart. We were watching a game when the knock came. I didn't need to look through the window to know who it was. There was this sharpness in the air, like her presence sucked all the oxygen out of the neighborhood. Nick opened the door. Jessica stood there in a raincoat, even though it wasn't raining. Her eyes darted past him, locking onto me like a sniper. I need to talk to my husband, she said. Nick didn't flinch. You can talk from there. I'm not here to fight, she said, pressing a hand to her chest like she had a heart. I just need a few minutes. Nick looked back at me. I gave him the nod. He stepped aside, but didn't leave the doorway. She stepped in like she owned the place. Nice, she said, looking around. Real cozy. Say what you came to say, I muttered. She paused, like she was waiting for some sign of warmth from me. She wasn't getting any. I talked to HR at work, she started. They said Brandon might get transferred after that photo leaked. People have been whispering. It's affecting my reputation. I blinked. That's why you're here. I said, because you're uncomfortable at work? Her expression shifted, lips twitching like she didn't expect me to call it out. No, I'm here because I miss you. We had something. I messed up. I know that. But we can fix it. I laughed, cold and short. There's nothing left to fix. She stepped closer. I didn't move. You loved me, she said. Don't lie. I know you loved me. I still do, I said quietly. Or I did. But love doesn't survive lies, Jess. It's not bulletproof. She went quiet. Then she tried a new angle. Tears. Ryan, I didn't mean to fall for him. I didn't plan it. It just happened. And I didn't sleep with him until after we started drifting apart. That has to mean something. So there it was. The confession. I nodded slowly. You finally said it. She wiped at her eyes like it would change the outcome. It was a mistake. One night. Maybe 2. I looked her dead in the eye. I saw the messages. It was 6 weeks. That shut her up. Her face went pale. You really went through my... I read everything. I cut in. I know about the hotel charges. The fake team dinners. The lingerie I never saw. Don't insult me by pretending it was just a night. Her voice cracked. I didn't think you'd find out. That's the problem, I said, stepping forward. You didn't think about anything but yourself. Nick cleared his throat behind her. I think that's enough. She turned, eyes wide. You're kicking me out. No, I said, grabbing her coat from the rack and handing it to her. I am. She hesitated, like she still couldn't process that this was really happening. That the man who once worshipped her would no longer hold the door open. She took the coat. I'll regret this, she whispered. I hope you do, I said. She left without another word. And when the door shut, it didn't feel dramatic. It felt like peace. 2 weeks passed without a word. Not a call. Not a text. Not even one of those passive-aggressive Instagram stories she used to post, hoping I'd see and feel something. It was silence. And you'd think that would be a relief, but it wasn't. Not right away. Grief is a weird thing. It doesn't arrive like a storm. It creeps in through the floorboards, settles in your chest when you're brushing your teeth, or when you're trying to find a clean shirt and you pull out one she bought you for some forgotten holiday. That's when it hits. And I let it. I let the weight of it drag me down some days. I stopped shaving. Stopped going to the gym. Some nights, I just sat in my truck in the driveway, staring out at nothing, wondering how the hell I'd gotten played so hard by someone I would have taken a bullet for. But then something changed. It happened on a random Tuesday. I was in a grocery store, grabbing a six-pack and a box of frozen wings, and I saw her. Not Jessica. Amanda, the woman who sent me the photo. She was in line ahead of me, holding a salad and some kombucha, wearing that same company lanyard I'd seen in the pic. I almost walked the other way, but she turned before I could move. "You're Ryan, right?" Her voice was cautious, soft. I nodded. "I'm sorry," she said. I didn't want to get involved, but when I saw that post, she was laughing about it with the other guys, like it was some kind of game. She looked genuinely uncomfortable, like she hadn't meant to blow up someone's life. "You did me a favor," I told her. She blinked. "Really?" "Yeah," I said. "You helped me see what I was too blind to notice." She smiled, barely. Well, she's not laughing anymore. That night, I finally opened the text thread I hadn't touched in 2 weeks. The one still sitting unread in my messages. "Jessica, Ryan, please call me. I need to talk. They're investigating me at work. It's bad. Can we just talk? I miss you. I messed up. But please don't let it end like this." I didn't reply, but I read every word. And for the first time, I didn't feel pain. I didn't feel rage. I just felt done. Closure, maybe. I opened notes on my phone. Typed out a message I knew I'd never send. "You lied to me, Jessica. You didn't just cheat on me with your body. You cheated with your words, your time, your attention, your silence. Every moment you let me kiss you while he was in your head, you killed something sacred. You burned the bridge, and now you're standing in the smoke, wondering why I won't come back across." I closed the note and deleted the thread. No goodbye, no revenge, no drama, just silence, my silence. And it felt good. A month later, I got a letter. Not a text, not an email. A real envelope, shoved awkwardly into my mailbox, no return address. Inside was a folded piece of paper, handwritten. The penmanship was familiar, tight, neat, slightly slanted right. Jessica's. My chest tightened before I even unfolded it. It wasn't an apology. Not really. It was a list. Things she missed. Things she wished she appreciated more. Things she thought I needed to hear. "I miss how you made coffee for me before I woke up. I miss the way you'd put your hand on my back in public, like you were proud I was yours. I miss hearing you breathe next to me at night, because you never snored, and I always thought that was kind of magical." She wrote 4 pages. About memories. About how Brandon ghosted her after HR got involved. About how her parents had no idea what she'd done, and how she didn't know how to face them. She ended it with, "If there's even one chance, I'll wait for it. I know I don't deserve it, but I'll wait." I sat on my front steps reading it twice. Then a third time. I didn't cry. I didn't smile. I just sat with it, felt the weight of it. Then I folded it back up, walked to the garbage can, and dropped it in. Because that letter wasn't for me. It was for her. For her guilt. For her regret. For her comfort. And I didn't know her that anymore. Nick came out a few minutes later, tossing a beer my way like he knew I needed it. We didn't talk about it. Just cracked the cans and sat in the sunset. 2 brothers. 2 chairs. A dog barking in the distance. Normalcy. That was the first night I slept through without waking up at 3 a.m. thinking I could have done more. Because the truth was, I did everything. And she did everything to ruin it. Some betrayals you survive. Others, you walk through them like fire. And you don't come out the same man on the other side. But you come out stronger. Sharper. Untouchable. 3 months after I walked out, I stood in front of a judge and signed the divorce papers. Jessica didn't show. She sent a lawyer in her place. Some overconfident guy in a cheap suit who tried to haggle over furniture like it mattered. I let him have the couch, the dining table, even the espresso machine she loved so much. I didn't care anymore. Those things held ghosts. And I had no interest in living in a museum of betrayal. I left the courthouse lighter. It wasn't just the end of a marriage. It was the burial of a version of myself I no longer recognized. A man who accepted less than he deserved, who mistook crumbs for affection, who mistook her lies for love. And I'll be honest, the road after wasn't easy. There were nights where her memory showed up like a thief, pulling me back into scenes I didn't want to revisit. The smell of her perfume on strangers. The way a particular song in a coffee shop could punch a hole in my chest without warning. The soft echo of her laugh in crowds where she didn't exist anymore. But I got better. One hard step at a time. I started training again. Went back to the gym, rebuilt my routine, stopped checking my phone like a starving man hoping for scraps. I read books I'd forgotten I owned. Talked to people I'd drifted from. Found moments of peace and silence instead of drowning in it. And somewhere along the way, I forgave myself. Not her. Never her. But me. For loving too hard. For trusting too much. For believing her when I knew something was wrong. And that's the part they don't talk about after betrayal. The part where you realize the war wasn't just about what they did to you. It's about what you let slide. All the times you swallowed doubt. Dimmed your own light just to keep their storm from ruining the night. So if you're listening, if you're the guy sitting in your car right now, wondering if it's your fault, if you're overreacting, if maybe she's just going through something. Let me be clear. If she makes you feel small, like a backup plan, like a placeholder while she shops for better, leave. You are not dramatic. You are not too sensitive. You are not imagining it. And you deserve more than a woman who hides her ring and calls it professional. You deserve someone who chooses you, loudly, proudly, publicly. I didn't get closure from her. I gave it to myself. And now? Now I sleep in peace. Because she was right about one thing. I'll never find someone like her again. Thank God.